Welcome back to Under Oath. Crime. Don't like it.
You don't like crime?
No. I vote no for crime.
You vote no for crime.
The problem is this.
You used to be a criminal defense attorney, so that's strange, but okay.
No. I used to defend crime. I didn't like it.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't fun. Nobody looked over and goes, you know what?
Oh, it was fun.
I could love some crime.
It was fun. Stop it.
No, it was fun because you were allowed to argue it, because civil stuff isn't fun. Criminal stuff, people do crazy stuff. Now, who do you think is responsible for crime? If I just said that to you.
The perpetrators.
We have somehow flipped this now. We're not going to blame the person stealing the cars. We're going to claim the cars are too easy to steal.
Yes. Well, welcome to America 2023. Yes. Not
City
surprised.
of Chicago.
Not surprised.
The city of Chicago has filed a lawsuit against Kia and Hyundai, alleging the company's failure to include engine immobilizers in their vehicles has led to a surge in car thefts, reckless driving, property damage, and related violent crimes. Because the car is easy to steal.
Their crime rate is increasing because their failure to immobilize the people committing the crime.
No.
Oh, yeah. That's
Crimes
why.
are too easy to commit.
That's why. They don't do anything to anybody in Chicago. You can basically, as long as you don't actually kill somebody, and even then, it's an argument. But as long as you don't actually kill somebody, they're not going to really do that much to you. And everybody knows it. And the people who especially know it are the people under 18. This is all free. It's all freebies because as soon as I turn 18, clean record.
No, you don't have a clean record. No, they still
Yeah,
use
you
the
do.
points against you.
Nope.
Sure, you can use the points. Or are you saying
What are you talking
Chicago
about?
they don't use points?
I'm talking about being a juvenile, being arrested and convicted of a crime as a juvenile doesn't count.
Do you remember?
No one,
do you remember
after
the
you turn 18,
prosecutors?
no one knows.
Do you remember the prosecutors? They somehow knew about our clients' past histories. So I don't think they're not sealed anywhere. They see them.
That's not what I'm talking. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about being able, like a regular employer is not going to be able, like any of these people are trying to get jobs.
What is wrong with you? Are you that upset about this?
If people are stealing cars at 16, 15, 16, 17, what do you think their prospects are without somebody seriously intervening? And that's what the court system's supposed to do. Intervene, get these kids on the right path, show them what they did is wrong and show them how to do something else. They don't have parents in Chicago.
Stop it.
They don't.
You think the parents are like showing them how to steal the
No,
Hyundais?
the parents aren't showing them how to steal, but they're not teaching them.
Okay.
They're not teaching them.
Here's the
anything.
thing. This is how I know it happened, because I have certain legal knowledge. This is how it came up.
Certain legal knowledge.
The mayor of Chicago, who literally says every day that, people aren't committing crimes, it's just stuff happens, went over to an attorney friend and said, Bob Steinbrenner, I need help. I look like ass. What can I do? All these Hyundais are getting stolen. And then Bob looked over and goes, you know what? I think there's a correlation. I think I have an attractive nuisance defense.
Defense?
An argument that crime is being committed because of attractive nuisance, not because they just commit crimes. Now, a lot of people don't know what attractive nuisance is. Attractive nuisance is, let's say I have a trampoline in my backyard and I don't have a fence or anything else, and kids go, I want to go on that trampoline. So a kid gets himself hurt really badly, and they blame the person who has the trampoline because the trampoline was so attractive, it caused them to get hurt. The same with a pool or something like this.
I understand the theory, but I don't think it's applicable in a car situation.
This car, people now know this car is so easy to steal.
I don't think it's an attractive nuisance. A trampoline is fun to go to and to jump on. What is fun about looking at?
It's not about fun.
Kia
it
or
attracts
Hyundai.
me to it. For example, I know on the internet, because I guarantee there's a ridiculous amount of YouTube videos or TikToks where people are showing how easy it is to steal these cars. And somebody goes, oh, this is how we steal it? It's easy.
You know what else is also easy to steal? Candy bars from 7-Eleven.
When's the last time you had a $7,000 candy bar?
7-Eleven for making candy bars too easy to steal?
Depends. Depends on how much those candy bars cost. Those candy bars are getting $10,000 a piece for them.
Jewelry stores, they have a bunch of nice jewelry laid out in front. Isn't that attractive? Are you not going to play? You wanted me to say at the beginning of our segment here, who's to blame? And I'm maintaining that it's the criminal. You're trying to come up with arguments on how it's everybody but the criminal? Is that what I'm understanding?
Have you ever thought, see, the point is this, and here's a little caveat to this. The Hyundai and Kia cars, this little fact you don't know, they have all the protection out of the country cars. The cars that are produced out of the country have these protections. The ones that they give to us don't. So this car is manufactured specifically in the U.S. without these safeguards that they put into every country other than ours.
So what?
I think they want them stolen.
You think that the
I think they're saving money.
I think they're saving money. Yes, stolen.
I think they're saving money.
Does the fact that they don't have those features make it cheaper and more affordable for people to buy? It must be
cheaper to make.
Cheaper to make, sure. So it must be more affordable for people to buy.
So they intentionally don't put these things on it in different countries for a reason. I don't know. I don't like it. Smells. Doesn't pass the smell test.
So what's the difference between the United States and, say,
Singapore?
Canada? Do they have Hyundais and
I don't think
Kias
they build
in Canada?
North America builds out of I believe Georgia or North Carolina.
So what country has higher safety? Europe.
Europe.
Okay. So what is it that they have in the Hyundai and Kias in Europe that they don't have
think the courts in Europe are a little more stringent when it comes to products. Like, for example, Apple, that I want you to know the Europeans, for example, they have the cords, you know, the special lightning cord you need for the Apple. And they also have a C cord you need for the iPad. And they have all these different connectors.
Yes, I know.
No more. No mas.
Good. Because Apple hates its customers.
Okay. Point is this, though. What were they doing illegal? Nothing. They were just selling some extra products, making a little extra dough. So the Europeans don't put up with that. We do.
We do. Why, though? Why do we put up? Why do we allow people to have more freedom here than they do in other countries, Jeff? Why?
I don't know. I don't think people deserve the freedoms.
Huh?
I don't think people deserve all the freedoms. No. I think people abuse it. For example,
they definitely abuse it.
I'm not going to say this, but California, you can get arrested now for anything under $1,000.
Correct.
You can steal anything under $1,000.
It's basically free.
That's a suit. That's a nice suit.
It's a real nice suit sometimes.
Yeah, I'm not talking like the $200 suit. I'm talking you could get a $9.99 suit, and I could run into, let's say, I get a Hugo Boss $9.99.
And hope it fits on the way out the door. But
44 regular. I'll pay the $10. No, that's BS. We know that's BS. And the problem is this: is they're trying to these states are suffering. These cities are suffering. They go, okay, we can't afford to put people in jail and prison, and we can get votes doing it this way. Is there an option?
Why do you say that they claim that they can't afford to put people? They're not putting anybody in jail, Jeff.
Anymore.
They're not prosecuting anyone
anymore.
So that can't be the reason.
It is. That's their argument. Cost too much. We're saving the taxpayer money by shutting down corporations.
By just having criminals run free amongst the population.
I can tell you this. Here's the problem when I listen to one of these politicians talk about this. We did this. We represented criminals.
Yeah.
People actually accused of committing crimes. They weren't criminals until they pled out. But the point is that we know people will do bad stuff if they think they can get away with it. And I always use this analogy the best way. Chicago mayor, look me in the eye. I'm going to tell you the way this works. I'm going to bestow invisibility powers upon half your citizens. Felonies in 10 minutes. That's how quick these people are going to use that ability to do bad stuff. Now, in this case, you're saying that because these cars are easier to steal, they're more likely to steal them. It's still stealing. Just what it is. You have bad people doing bad stuff. Well, they're not that bad. They just have issues. And their issues involve committing crimes. Sad. Now, is a company responsible for that? If they go out of their way or don't do something that they know is an easy fix, maybe we hold people civilly responsible.
I don't know that's an easy fix, though. Why do you think that it's an easy fix? It might be $3,000 extra to put in all of the security measures, and now all of a sudden a lot of people can't afford that same car. You
think people in the U.S. can't afford cars over people in Europe? It's the same
Yeah,
crappy Hyundai.
I don't know.
And we're not talking the sedan. I mean, Hyundai is known for like really cheap ass
But
cars.
shouldn't I have the ability to purchase a very cheap
I mean, a
car?
Kia, come on.
No bells or whistles. I want the cheapest monthly payment I can possibly get. Don't give me anti-lock brakes. Don't give me power steering. I'll even roll up the windows. How much is a car like that? $50 a month? Great. Why can't I buy the cheapest car possible? Because I don't want to spend that much money on a car.
We agree on safety measures, right? Should be safer, right?
It depends.
Sure
I mean,
it is.
there's all of that is on a spectrum.
There are rules that require the car to be
federal
safety.
government says you can't put these cars out unless you have these basic minimum. But that's not.
So
that's not what's happening though. The
federal,
Kia and the Hyundai, they don't fail to meet minimum requirements.
What if the federal government, and I think this would be the better thing, get the federal government to rule that these cars have to be made harder to steal. There should be a minimum thing, like all the rest of the cars.
I can support that, but I can't support just willy-nilly deciding
well,
to go
is this
after.
the way it happens? If the government's not willing to do something, then we take it to the courts and hope that they'll solve that issue.
Well, I think that's a bad policy because you're going to get ad hoc laws because you're going to have however many judges you have in Chicago, and they're all going to be coming up with different ways of looking at it, and you get a mess. Well, Chicago's already in a mess anyway, and they can get out of the mess by just enforcing the laws that are already on the books.
Think of the way why it's 21 years to drink now. You have to be 21 to drink now. Why? Because Ronald Reagan said, you know what? I don't think 18-year-olds should drink, even if they're in the military. I don't think they should have the right to drink. So I can't force the states to do it. But what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to hold back transportation dollars if they don't change the law. Now, that could happen here. But the problem is we know corporations own our government. They own them. They own them on ugly levels. The auto manufacturers, every company owns it. Coca-Cola owns the government. That's why, you never see them get shut down. So I think in this case, if I was going to make the argument on Chicago's side, I said the only way we can make change happen and force them to do it is if we do this, because what could happen is they go, all right, we'll make the change. It's embarrassing. If I was Kia, I wouldn't want to buy a Kia knowing that this car's so easy to steal.
Why is that a big deal?
It's a huge deal. I want to know the car's going to be there when I go to get in the car.
But you can't make that claim for any car.
I don't leave the windows open.
You can't make that claim for any car. People steal Ferraris every day, Jeff.
Well,
every day Ferraris get stolen. Every day BMWs get stolen. The most sophisticated, secure vehicles on the planet get stolen every day.
Value compared to ease of theft. So it's a test.
Yeah, you can steal
so this
one
car is
BMW
so easy to steal.
and that's worth like 20
what if
Kias.
you flicked it? What if I walked over and I just blew on the car and it started? Would that be fair to the owner of the car?
Well, you're being ridiculous now.
How do I know it's not that simple? How do I know it's not okay? You click, or I got a cell phone. I got an app that turns the car on.
The door locks. You need a key to get the ignition. Now you can get around that. Well, yeah, you just jam a screwdriver in there, right? Isn't that what the TikTok video says? You just jam a screwdriver and force ignition
what
switch.
If this one specifically has that issue and they don't care? They go, screw it. We don't care if your car gets stolen. I think it's more of a consumer crime.
If anybody was going to sue the companies, though, I would think it'd be the insurance companies that insure those vehicles.
Ooh, sounds like a good class action. Look at all of us.
Do you own a Honda?
I think there are 7 of you people who got your car stolen. Actually, based on this math,
or a Kia
I'm
or
looking
Honda?
at, hold on, how many cars got stolen? 8,350. In the first half, it was like 500.
So what would there be? Okay, so let's say I'm going to jump on your side now all of a sudden, right?
Okay, you're
so
one
what
of
are
me.
their damages, right? The increased premiums for insurance.
Okay.
Their co-pay, right? So you're talking over $1,000 for every single person.
No, you're forgetting. Once I drive the car off the lot, what happens? Devalue. So they're only going to give me.
Do you think even if they recover it, it's somehow less?
Oh yeah,
worth less because
they
it was
crash
stolen?
it. They do these things.
Is that on the Carfax? Can you get that on the Carfax?
That it got stolen?
It was stolen.
What if it doesn't get returned? That's the whole point. So I go to my insurance company.
Yeah,
and
the insurance company pays for it minus.
They give me Blue Book.
Yeah.
So who gets screwed? You're talking thousands of dollars in the hole.
True.
So because they did this to me,
God forbid you owe more on it than it's worth, and they just replace. They just give you the value of the car, and then you're stuck with.
How many of these people you think bought this car going, wait a minute, this is the easiest car to steal on the planet, but I'm getting such a discount, it's worth it. I'm willing to bet they didn't know that.
Allowed to make those decisions?
What if they don't know? I mean, what if you don't know that the product you're buying is in a way defective? That it's
that's
so
a problem. Yeah,
it's so less than everybody else's.
But it's not defective. It locks. It's not like the door doesn't lock.
What if it's easy?
It's not
I
like
bump
it doesn't require the ignition to be turned.
Two kicks and a fart opens the door up. I mean, who knows? I don't know what it takes to steal one of these things, but I can tell you what, 8,300 of these guys stole it pretty easy.
TikTok video right now. You and I can go steal a Kia.
You know what we should do? We should actually look at it, and then somebody's got to have a Kia in this office. We'll just shoot our own TikTok, and we'll see how easy, whether two idiots like us can steal a Kia.
All right.
Not steal it, but with somebody's permission.
Deal.
But then with my luck, I'd screw up the lock, and it cost me $6,000.
Are we going to film it?
Yeah, we can do that. I think that'd be the best test ever.
We should probably get the owner's permission before we actually.
Of course. I'm not going to commit a crime. Well, you'd commit it. I'd tell you. Hey, Craig, they gave us permission. Some random stranger would run out and yell, what are you doing in my car?
How embarrassing would it be, though, if we're looking at this video and like two 12-year-olds can figure it out, and you and I look at the same video and we can't do it?
Well, come on. We don't have those skills. We also don't need the money that bad. We have to become good at it.
That's true.
I mean, I don't know. I think talking about it in that terms, when you start hashing this out, you start realizing, wait a second, this is a consumer issue. And maybe that's what our government should hop on. But maybe they're so afraid of, Kia's owned by Korea. Isn't Hyundai and Kia owned by Korea?
Oh,
yeah.
Yes.
If it was a Chinese car, we absolutely would be on the bandwagon to go after them. But Korea's a friend, so we can't do that. But I think anything that is unsafe, or it's so, how can I say it, defective. I mean, think of product.
It's not really defective.
It is if it's not, if it's so far below the standards of security.
Using the Hyundai.
How many people if somebody steals the car and somebody gets run over?
But you're missing one of the most important elements in your description there. Somebody else has to be willing to commit a crime. And whenever you put that into any equation, people are going to get hurt or people are going to lose their property. Somebody has to be willing to commit the crime. Now someone could steal my truck if they really wanted to. Someone could steal your motorcycle if they really wanted to.
What happens is I think this plays out differently, that if you make your car or this item attractive to criminals, not just in the sense, it's this super expensive car, but it's really easy to steal. You see a Kia.
So do the flip side. Ferrari.
But the value is so high.
Of course, that's me. That's even more valuable. I could sell a Ferrari,
but they're so much
for
harder.
30 Kias.
But harder. So much harder.
So what? You just said there has to be a balance between the attractiveness of it and the ability to steal it.
And I guarantee Ferrari their security systems are ridiculous in comparison to the blow and fart Hyundai drive away car.
You know how easy it'd be to steal a Ferrari?
I don't know. I assume it'd be really hard.
The little forklift, lift it up onto a truck, boom, off you go. Take it to.
Well, you could steal any car like that.
That's what I'm saying.
But that's any car. That's an any car issue, not the Kia blow.
So that requires more effort. The Hyundai and the Kias, those can be stolen by just about anybody.
Anybody. But the car with the same value, it's harder to steal.
You think a Ferrari is the same value?
No. I'm talking Hyundai has comparative cars like Chevy, Ford, everything else has a comparable car, and it's harder to steal.
Well, it's debatable on whether it's comparable.
It's not.
I think Kia and Hyundai,
it's not.
These
numbers are brutal.
Their market is they sell the cheapest cars.
I mean, you're talking about the difference of, let's say, 500 into 8. You're talking 16,000% difference. So you know what happened. The YouTube videos came out how to steal these things, and everyone goes, it's on. And that's what I think the problem is. I think that's what they're arguing. But I don't like the idea. But what they should do is go, hey, listen, we want the government to regulate this. Regulate security. They do it all the time. Quality of seatbelts, quality of seats, quality of bumpers. Yeah, why not quality of safety and security? I mean, I'm sure locks that you put on your house, if the lock you put on a house is a crappy lock and somebody breaks into your house and steals it, you could sue the manufacturer of the lock. So why in this scenario can I sue the manufacturer of the car?
When you're suing somebody, though, you have to have a standard that they failed to meet.
Yes.
And there's no standard that they failed to meet.
Not really. You can show that
you got to invent a standard called industry standard. Everybody else does it like this, and therefore you should also have to do it like this.
And that's what they decided.
And what's the defense to that?
That's what they argued.
The defense is we can't sell any cars because we would have to add $3,000, and then all that does is put us in the exact same price bracket as all these other manufacturers
Ford or
who are kicking
else.
our ass.
Not kicking. You think Ford's kicking Kia's ass?
Of course they do.
No, they're not.
Yes, they are.
No, Ford sells one thing. They sell the F-150. Nothing else sells. You know, the Broncos are getting recalled. They should just call Ford recall.
I didn't know Ford had anything else but F-150s.
I know. They have Broncos that get recalled. They got
They have
everything.
things other than trucks?
Yeah.
Oh.
And you should have seen, I watched this dump truck kill this Taurus. I mean, it was just like a piece of paper.
Taurus.
The Ford Taurus.
Yeah.
Yeah. Remember those things? The government bought tens of thousands of these things. Our government only buys American. So they buy Fords and they buy Fords. And that's why all these guys get killed in Fords. And I'm not saying that Fords is the death car, but I saw their own views of this big dump truck crushing this thing. I didn't like it. Made me uncomfortable. Made me glad that I own a Jeep.
Don't buy that
But the
car.
Jeep took a good hit. But here's the point. I guarantee that the Hyundais, Hyundai sells some expensive sedans. I mean, some of those Hyundais
I'm
are
sure
expensive.
those have more sophisticated security items. It's the super cheap cars, especially if you're a commuter in Chicago, like you're living in an apartment somewhere, you probably have the cheapest kind of Kia or Hyundai you can afford, right? You're not driving the big luxury stuff. You're driving the cheapest thing that you can afford,
cheap
and
Fords.
you're living in a bad neighborhood because you're driving a cheap car. So because you live in a bad neighborhood, your cheap car's sitting there. It's a big fat apple just waiting for somebody to come by and pluck it.
Big fat Chicago apple waiting to be plucked. I don't know. I don't like it. I don't like any of it. It bothers me. It bothers me because, first off, I'm not a fan of Chicago. I'm not a fan of Chicago because their crime and their murder rates are ridiculous. And they blame it on other states that are causing their problems instead of their people, which is I don't know, let's just call it victim mentality. You're going, I'm a victim because other people are doing it. That's why with the Jesse Smollett thing, that they were so quick to believe that. And I'm going, there's a lot of weird stuff on that one. But that's Chicago. We're told when we visit Chicago, stay out of the bad neighborhoods, stay out of everything. And they go, well, there are bad neighborhoods everywhere. Not when they say basically Chicago is a death trap.
Is there a spot in Chicago that's not considered a bad neighborhood? That's not weird.
I don't know. But the weird thing is they have the most stringent gun laws in the country.
Impossible.
Yeah.
Impossible.
Yeah. They have the toughest gun laws.
Yeah.
The people committing all the crimes don't get care of them.
They lead the country in number of gun shooting deaths.
Yeah. Murder.
Yeah.
Murder capital. It used to be New Orleans around there. And then Philadelphia got up there. But now Chicago leads it all. And now they're trying to, I think this might be a distraction, even though I agree that these cars should not be so easy to steal.
You agree the cars, no one likes that they're easy to steal. But we're not arguing about whether or not the cars are easy to steal.
I think you're abusing the consumer.
We're arguing about what is the solution. Dump it on the manufacturer to make a more expensive car so that less consumers can afford it, or they can afford it, but it's a hardship on them, or hold the criminals responsible. I say hold the criminals responsible. You say hold the manufacturers responsible.
I think it's a twofer. The last thing I want to say is this. I think when it comes down to it, I look at it like this. If the consumer is aware that the car is so much easier to steal than any other car, then they made a choice. My concern is that the consumer, the buyer, is unaware of these things. And the worst case scenario about that, the best thing about this lawsuit is now I know not to buy one of these unless they can tell me, oh, we've updated the
So I could convince you to come over to my side of the equation.
Yes.
If I said we're going to issue warnings to every purchaser of these vehicles that they're exceptionally easy to steal, you might want to consider third-party steering wheel locks or something like that.
Absolutely.
Oh,
I'm on your side. But they ain't making that change.